I'm here with Patty Voigt. She's a financial aid worker inside the Cavalier Express Center. What is your job title?
I am the Assistant Director of Financial Aid.
What does that require you to do?
Some of my main processes are processing the Pell Grants for students, also processing the FIA grants, the Pennsylvania State grant that Pennsylvania residents can get. I'm also in charge of processing several reports that catch any errors as far as disbursement. That's mainly like a back end piece that I do just to make sure that everyone's aid is paying correctly. I also process verifications. The verification process is just something that the government requires us to do. They select the students and then we verify all their information. I also see students whenever I counsel them on financial aid. I work financial aid. Sorry, I can't think right now. Financial aid presentations, events. We have 2 financial aid presentations a year. I work at both of those. I also assist at the open houses and any other events that the admissions office may need us to assist with.
Okay. What is the main reason why students come to the Cav Express Center?
I think one of the main reasons is to make sure they have their financial requirements in order, to make sure that their bills paid, at least from a financial aid standpoint. They also do come to the Cav Express Center to register for classes and to pay their bill. So they can come for a variety of reasons. But the reasons that I see is because either they just want to talk to a counselor about their financial aid, or they just want to check on the status of it.
So financial aid is the main reason why they come, like loans and...
Yes, loans, to make sure, see if their PA grant was added on, to see if they have any missing documentation that would prevent their financial aid from paying. So all of those reasons.
An estimate: how many students come to the Cav Express Center for either financial problems or debt or money that they owe in one day?
That's a really tricky question to ask, because the only answer I can say is it depends. Certain times of the year we are busier. Usually this time of the year we're a little bit busier because holds got placed on accounts, so students are coming in to make sure they have all the requirements in order. But then in the summer we're very busy as well. Parents coming in as part of an open house or a tour, and they want to talk about financial aid, or they want to check on the status of their loan being certified. We're also very busy around graduation as well. Again, students making sure they have all their pieces in order, to see where they can go to check how much debt they've accrued when they've been in school. But then usually, like next month, we may not be as busy because a lot of students are getting ready to end the semester and go home for the winter break. Usually any time around a break, we're not as busy. So that, the spring break and the winter break. In the beginning of the summer, we're generally not as busy just because nobody's here. Everyone's left for the year. But then we do tend to pick up once school's ready to start, once holds are put on students' accounts, and then usually in the beginning of the spring semester, we're a little busy too. But I couldn't give you a guesstimate of how many people I see in a day, because there's times where I've seen 10 people in a day, there's times I haven't seen any people in a day, or there's times I've seen like 1. So it depends.
Okay. Cabrini's average tuition for both fall and spring semesters, plus room and board, is about how much?
$29,000
for both semesters.
Yes, that's for the year. That's $29,000 for tuition and fees for the whole year, the whole academic year.
This is the $29,000 is considered low compared to like higher level schools like D1, D2. Why do you think Cabrini's tuition is lower than the D1 and D2 schools?
That I'm really not sure, unfortunately. I'm not sure what goes into the process of selecting tuition costs. That's more of an upper level VP, president type of question, so I really wouldn't be able to answer that. Unfortunately, I know with D3 we're not. I don't think we compete, like as much as like D1 schools do. But I don't think that really even matters either, because some D1 schools might be cheaper than Cabrini anyway. So I think it's just a decision that was made by the board and the president and the vice presidents of Cabrini, and they don't tell me that information.
Okay, how many loans for a student to have a 1 year free of tuition? How many for an average student? How many loans or grants would you think, just an estimate, would it take for them to have a tuition free year?
Well, at Cabrini, and I think this is really a lot of schools, we never are able to cover full tuition. We can certainly, there's a number of grants and scholarships available. For instance, someone who has a 0 EFC, which is expected family contribution, could potentially be eligible for a Pell Grant, a FIA grant if they file on time and they live in Pennsylvania, as well as subsidized and unsubsidized loans. One thing that, and then, that's in combination with any academic money they're offered upon acceptance, and if there's any other need-based funding we have. But Cabrini generally doesn't cover full tuition.
Just one more.
Sure.
An average student graduates, and about how much money in debt do you think that student will have to owe? Just estimate, an average student after graduation.
That again depends. It depends on how much they've taken out in their federal loans, and it also depends on if they've taken out a private loan or not. I think the national average right now is about 30,000 is what people graduate with, but again, that number could change if they're taking out, because parents also can take out a Parent Plus loan, students can take out a private education loan. So, we don't let them borrow over a certain amount within an academic year. So you can't borrow more than, I think it's, well, again, that depends too. But every student is set up with a budget, and that explains realistic costs for tuition fees, room and board, and then personal expenses. So we set every student with a budget, because if we were to give someone unlimited borrowing, that scares me to think of how much debt someone may graduate with. So we do set them with a reasonable budget and say, this is how much you could expect to have in your cost of attendance, to help you, to help you borrow safely.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
I very appreciate it.
Good luck.